what I didn't do is I didn't let my circumstances define who I wanted to be and what I wanted to accomplish. Right. Because like you said, if we go back 10 years, I was probably going to Utah State. I was going to college to get a degree in finance, minor in entrepreneurship and real estate. At about the time that I got started, we had just had our first kid. We lived in the basement of our duplex that we bought, and I was driving semi full time. So I've been a blue collar guy all the way up until like 2019. Right. And so I worked for my in-laws, their trucking company in Tremont. And for like that summer that I started, for the entire summer, I was only home for like a combination of 3 weeks. Right. So did I have any time? No. I was going to school full time, driving semi full time, had a brand new family. I didn't have any freaking time. Did I have any money? No, I didn't have any money. I was like probably paycheck to paycheck or worse. Right. But I didn't let circumstances and situations define who I wanted to become. I started learning how to create that long-term vision of who I wanted to become and what I wanted to create. So in 2017, so we bought our duplex in 2016, 17, we were able to use some equity from the duplex, and we bought a fourplex, before it went to auction. And that's always a fun story. But I got into and you kind of talked about this for just a second, but like mentors have been a huge part of my life. Right? Between when I started in 16, 17 to even today, I have multiple mentors, right? I'm a blue collar, I come from a blue collar, hardworking family, right? I've never had a corporate job doing this stuff, finance with, you know, I just forgot their names, but any of the financial companies, I never did any of that. So all of my experience has been like on the job and learning it from other people so I can cut down my learning curve, right? So in 2017, there was a real estate community in Utah that, they had a really cool education platform and lots of people who were doing real estate, and it cost 20 grand. And I'm like, I know what I want, and this education seems to be what can get me there, but I don't have 20 grand. And so, but like, it was the worst possible time to do it for all of the reasons that I said. But like, I applied for a couple credit cards, maxed out a couple credit cards, used some of my student loan money, got a loan. So like I came up with the 20 grand from like multiple sources that put me in technically a worse financial position than I was already in. Right. And somehow my wife trusted me. And, cause at this point I guess we'd been married for 4 years by this point. Like to put our family in more like debt than we were already in, because she was getting her master's in accounting. So she had a lot of debt herself. I don't know. It was the worst possible time to do it, but the very best possible time to do it, because it was like, no excuses. We're going all in. We're going to make this happen. And it was that community, right? With a guy that I met who put 2.5 million into my deal last year, right? Just that one relationship. And I'm not even talking about the decade plus of relationships I got in that community, right? And the learnings, just that one relationship, $2.5 million. Did that pay for the 20K that I spent, a decade ago? Absolutely. So I think anybody who's wanting to get into the game, figure out what that is for you. If you want to get in the game, I think the biggest thing is like find a community and find a mentor. Go find the people that are doing what you want to do. Go add value and get in and just start taking action, right? You can YouTube university and podcast and book, read, learning to death. But until you start taking action, it doesn't really matter.